Hey, how's everybody doing today? We're going to go ahead and fix more stuff on this, mostly just fuel lines and filter and the glow plugs because they're all bad. Well, the fuel filter is probably good, but I'm going to go ahead and replace all these fuel lines because if you actually look at them, they're all like really dry rotted. It's honestly kind of a miracle that these haven't broken yet and, have caused a fire under here, which is what I've been expecting for quite some time now. But thankfully has not happened. I'm also going to go ahead and replace these too because these are usually bad. If you actually look really close, you can see that I've already replaced all of my vacuum hoses. But I will say on a Volkswagen TDI, or this one, the Beetle, these vacuum hoses made a huge difference. It started running a lot better and it was just better overall. I'm also going to go ahead and be replacing all of the glow plugs. Mostly just this one needs to be replaced, but I'm going to go ahead and replace all of them anyways because one of them is from this motor, and if you guys knew, I blew up the other motor, don't even know how. I still haven't pulled it apart, which we should totally do a video on that. I still have that motor. I'm going to go ahead and replace all of them because 3 are from the old motor and 1 is from the new motor, and the reason why is because the 3 from the new motor were brand new and the 1 from the old motor, I had no idea on it. I think that's actually the one that went bad, but I'm going to go ahead and replace all 4 of them anyways. So what I'm going to go ahead and do to replace all this stuff is, if you come over here, you'll see I have the new return line, which this is an OEM return line. I didn't get it directly from Volkswagen. I actually got it from a place called Karma TDI. I also got a new little plug right here because I don't know what's going on with those lines. They could be old. Well, they are old. They're original. May as well just replace them. I also have here some nylon braided AN line, which will work just fine for this. Like I got some 6AN, which fits up perfectly with what we have. I actually think that the current fuel lines have lasted as long as they have, even though they're super dry rotted, is because there is no pressure in the system. It's all vacuum. So I'm pretty sure that's why it's lasted as long as it has. Obviously these, and we got a new Moly fuel filter, which is OEM, along with a new check valve, because I may as well just go ahead and do the entire fuel system since I have to pull it apart anyways. Also got this stuff too, which we will put directly into the filter. This is actually a trick that I learned from another Volkswagen guy on YouTube. He's Volkswagen certified and whatnot. If I find the video to him actually using this and the way he uses it, I'll put it down in the description below. So yeah, let's go ahead and start pulling all this junk apart and get there. Oh yeah, and the Bosch OEM glow plugs as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and start by just pulling all of the fuel lines out first and go from there. Okay, so these little guys right here, there's this little tab on that. Well, not really a tab, but if you look close, there's this little button. You push it, and then these pop right off just like that. Don't mind this guy right here. I'm actually going to be removing this in the next video, which this is probably a good time to go ahead and tell you guys to please subscribe if haven't clicked that button yet. Finally at 85 subscribers at the recording of this video. I can't wait to actually get to 100 because that's a big milestone for me right now. In fact, I actually have a little bit of a burnout planned with little blue over there once we do hit 100. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button, guys, and see a big old burnout. Or big old burnout for me. There'll be a burnout. Don't worry. I promise there'll be a burnout. Look at the arrows so you know which way goes which. Make sure the arrows are pointing forward, and then the lines will match up just fine. Filter's coming out. Apparently I need to loosen it up just a little bit more. Well, that's not good. I have to find that on the ground now. All right, so this is what you go ahead and do with this filter right here. As you can see, this is definitely not the OEM one. Why? Because it says made in China and it's crappy. Anyways, some people will go ahead and pour all the fluid out of this one and back into the new filter. Don't do that because you might be pouring contaminants back into it. But I will say I am kind of cheap and I'm just going to pour it right back into the fuel tank. But to be honest, there's probably contaminants in the fuel tank anyway, so screw it. This is the level of cheap I can be. I'm going to leave that right there because I will have to reuse it. Pull all these lines out because they are almost out completely. Volkswagen does this kind of weird. There we go. All right, I'm actually kind of happy to see that I don't have to pull nowhere near as much apart as I was expecting to. All right, sweet. I'm gonna go ahead and put this guy over here. Actually, let's go ahead and do it on the back of the tailgate because that'll make life just a little bit easier. Okay, so first things first, we gotta look at the orientation of this guy, which I am dripping diesel fuel everywhere. Not like it bothers me any. And the best way to go ahead and look at this, hold on, is there an arrow? Yes, there is. Yeah. And the arrow says that way. And if you match it up completely, yep. Now this is an OEM one. I don't know if the check valve is actually bad or not. I'm just replacing it anyways. These are like the world's biggest pain in the butt clamps right here. And this is why. I'm probably gonna end up fighting with these, or I might just end up, because I'm just taking these off for the clamps, which I don't think is gonna happen. That's gonna be a huge pain in the butt, and so are these ones, so yay. Also, a big reason why I am rebuilding all of my lines with this guy is because buying this whole thing is like 200 bucks, and I'm not spending 200 bucks on all this. When I spent, not even joking, I think I spent $30 on this Summit Racing brand, diesel rated and line. And it looks cool. So yeah, I don't see where the worth is. This is gonna be such a pain in the ass. I think I need a different pair of pliers. There we go, just bend them a little bit. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and replace all these. I'll go run to the hardware store, grab some small little clamps, and just replace all of these because these are freaking junk. I hate these. I don't know why somebody thought these were a good idea. There we go. Yeah, that's what you do with them. You just grab them, get underneath them, and fucking bend the shit out of them. Because we're going to go ahead and replace them with something that works way better. Golly, I hate these freaking clamps, man. I like the other ones. The other ones are nice. These ones just suck. Like, this style is great, but this style is like, who thought this was a good idea? Oh, I know. Somebody over at Volkswagen thought this was an awesome idea. I'm not worried about breaking these either because I actually have 2 spare ones. But they're also off of an old Volkswagen diesel that I saw at the junkyard. So I want to use these ones first, and those ones will be a last resort. Ta-da! Yay, I got one of them out. Oh, and it's really easy to remember which one goes where. Whenever you go ahead and look at these lines, blue goes to the blue one, black goes to the black one, and I got a limp thumb. And it won't be hard for me to remember which one goes where because the blue one was hooked up to the check valve. That is how I will remember. Don't cut towards yourself, kids. This is how you get a bad boo-boo. Hooray, it's out. Okay, now I'm gonna go get like a whole bunch of little clamps because I think it's worth it. I was gonna try to reuse all these because I kind of like the way that this would look onto here. But I think those tiny little screw clamps are probably going to do me a lot more justice now that I'm looking at all this and this is becoming just a huge pain in the butt. So I'm going to go run down to the hardware store real quick, go grab one of those, and I'll be right back. All right, we are back. I got all the clamps, got some new gloves on. These are those little clamps I was talking about. Now let's go ahead and take this line and match it up to all this line and cut it and, you know, do all that stuff. Make everything look all super nice and pretty. And trust me when I say, these are a must-have with cutting AN line, man. I mean, an absolute must-have. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the blue one because it is the one that is on the bottom. So, little clamp, blue one, And tighten. Oh yeah, that's not going anywhere. All right. So we'll just take this over there, figure out where all the lines need to go. Yeah, this should work out really good actually. So I need to go ahead and route this guy to where it needs to go, around the tank here. And see, blue line, blue clip, blue line, push on, and voila, that is the first one. And I'll try to put it in its little clip, which it went in. Sweet. Apparently there's a little clip right there. And wow, this is already turning out significantly better than originally. This is pretty freaking sweet. Hell yeah. And I should have, oh yeah, I got plenty of line to go from, do all that. Cool. I'm trying to debate, should I put this in? If I put this in, it'll give me an accurate spot on where I need to cut. So I think that's kind of where we're at right now. This is the part that I need to go ahead and show you guys real quick. So this is what I got this for. What you're gonna do is you're gonna put all this into here. And yes, this diesel will run off of it. It will prime it and clean the living crap out of it, because that's what it's for, you know? So I'm gonna go ahead and put this into this filter before installing it. Or maybe, actually I could just get a funnel. That's what I'll do. I'll just install this and then I'll deal with all of that. 'Cause that seems like it will probably be easier. Get our hose clamp. Now these ones need to be pointed down, and there's a really good reason for it. It's because it will not clear that at all. So we point that down, get that back just a little bit. We screw this on, and then we move on to the next line. And just because I'm a picky person and I want to make sure that everything fits just right, I think this needs to go on the other side. At least that's the hint I'm starting to get. Hey, put me on the other side, which is also not a hint that I wanted to see. Okay, well, I'm just gonna make it work. There we go. I need to put it back just a little bit. So slip the screwdriver under here. Loosen it on up. There we go. Okay, and does it fit all the way down? Pretty freaking close. Close enough. Okay, so now on to the next line. And then the next. And the next. And the next. So many freaking lines. Okay, let's go ahead and start this one. If any dirt ends up in this line and it ends up coming back to bite me in the ass one day, I'm gonna be pretty upset. Pretty freaking upset. Okay, now the other one wasn't necessarily ran this way, but I am running this one this way because it will be shorter, and I think it's kind of dumb the way that they had it routed, going more towards the engine. There we go. Okay, and then we just cut and put right there. So cut here. And get a clamp. And I rip my glove again. I always end up ripping them. Now time for the home stretch, and I need to go make sure which line goes where real quick. Okay, so if you look at this right here, you'll see this one that's pointed down goes like this, sits on top, and it goes to that this one, and this is the return. So yeah, cool. We're gonna do the return first, which is this guy. This guy needs to go because it's old, and this guy needs to go in because it's new. And get the clamp. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the last and final line. And look at that, we got spare line. I'm gonna lower this fuel filter just a little bit because I don't want the lines rubbing on the body of the car. If I lower just that little bit, now nothing rubs. And then this goes here. That could be shorter. I'm gonna make that just a little bit shorter because I think it's kind of long. Take barely about an inch off of it, maybe right about here, because I got plenty of spare. Oh yeah, look at how clean that is. That is a very clean looking install. Well, we're not even done yet. We still need to do this and the glow plugs. I'm just surprised at how well this is coming out. Like seriously, this is looking really good. Let's go ahead and pull this line back on out because it needs a clamp. See, now I'm just gonna feel a lot better and safer about all of this because it wasn't, you know, quite the greatest thing in the world to begin with. Okay, now here's the real test. This has very limited clearance. So we're going to see if I could first fill up this filter with the diesel purge and then second, put everything together on it. So first, filter and diesel purge. Well, not filter, funnel. Funnel, then diesel purge. Wherever my funnel is. I think it's over here. Yes, it is. Now this filter is kind of set up just right to where it should take almost this entire bottle. Oh boy, okay. So it's coming out of there now. Let's go ahead and attach that line. I need to go ahead and clamp that line. And there we go. And you see that also primes the entire system. Now I don't need that anymore, so I don't care if dirt gets on it because I don't need to clean it again. And I'm getting really tired of all the diesel stuffs everywhere. Like, should probably spray that off. Oh, fine, I'll get a rag. Kind of a wet rag, but I don't care. All right, guys, so as you can see, I got it all installed. Okay, so camera died, and it's usually always a good thing whenever the camera dies on me because I'm usually getting kind of frustrated around that point. But here is the really nice, super clean install. Making sure everything is tight, everything is in place, nothing is loose at all. I unfortunately was not able to use these underneath here. Thankfully though, I had some of these clamps that were still in good condition. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and double check, make sure that everything is tight and whatnot, which of course it all is. It should be. I need to point this one up just a little bit. So loosen it, point the hose up some, and tighten it back down. And the reason why I did that is to make sure that this doesn't rub on anything. So yeah, this is a really nice install. Hell yeah, it looks absolutely wonderful. And it's not dry rotted anymore. I feel significantly safer now. So now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the return lines. And should really just go get another pair of gloves, so I'm gonna go do that. Okay, Bryce, just because you have a box of these doesn't mean you should keep tearing them, or you may as well just be barehanded again. I've been wearing gloves more and more often because, like, let's be completely honest, guys. I understand there's gonna be the mechanics out there like, oh no, you just use your bare hands, and no, fuck that shit. There's a lot of really nasty chemicals that end up getting on your hands and they just completely destroy your hands. And you know, in this kind of line of work, which this is just a hobby for me now, but it was my line of work, this is like, you know, these put food on the table. And if you don't take care of these, just like your tools, food won't get on the table anymore, or it'll be harder to get it on the table. But let's go ahead and pull all of these lines out right here. Yeah, it's not too hard. And these ones are just push on. And I actually got the OEM hose, which part of why I went with the braided nylon is because this is kind of like braided nylon, even though it looks more like braided cotton. So, you know, you just pull these guys off little bit by little bit. I really hate that fuel is just going everywhere. All right, all those are out. I need to pull this little guy out too, because I actually went and got a new one of these. And then that one broke. So here's this guy. You can see I got the new one in there. Open this up, pull that out. We're gonna immediately put this guy right on there. So here's your hose. You only need one, they said 1 meter. I guess that's 1 meter. Yeah, it's 1 meter. So we're just gonna go from like one to the other and push them on as we go. Okay. Look at that. A nice clean cut. Push that guy on and boom. And then you go to the next one. And then the next one. And the next one. Yeah, I'll give it just a little extra. Okay, so these may have been like $40, but holy crap, have they been worth it. Probably could have made that one shorter, but that's okay. And then we just do the very last one right here. Go boink. That clips on right there. Done. And look at that. I even have a little bit extra, just like the other one. Sweet. Finally, my fuel system's completely done. Now let's go ahead and finish it all up by replacing all the glow plugs. Start it, run it, make sure everything's running good. Yeah, we're done. Hell yeah. Now, usually you would want to replace this whole little thing right here, but this one is new. And what I mean by new is well, it's not the original. I replaced this one a long time ago whenever I first had glow plug issues. So it's just a 10 millimeter, nothing crazy. And what I like to do is I like to pull one out and then put one immediately back in, just to ensure that nothing ends up getting into that hole. Because if something does, well, then that's not good. And I think that is indeed the bad one. Sit that bad boy down in there. It's just like changing out spark plugs. There ain't a whole lot to it. But also just like changing out spark plugs, you gotta make sure they're sat in all the way and all that kind of stuff, but you don't have to worry about a gap. And you don't want to overdo them either, because if you overdo them, well, does everybody remember those Ford 2-valve engines? How they, or not the 2 valves, but everybody remembers how those spark plugs used to literally get shot out of a Ford, or they used to break in half? Yeah, same thing will happen right here. Now there's a torque spec on these, and yeah, I'm not using it. Just don't do too many ooga-doogas. That's my torque spec. As little ooga-doogas as possible. I also want to make sure that these are nice and tight because they are literally inside of the combustion chamber, and if they're not completely tight, then you will be slightly down on compression and power and have poor fuel economy. Ask me how I know, because I've accidentally done that before. And what I mean by that is I thought one was tight, but it turned out it wasn't tight, and yeah. I will say though, I didn't notice the power drop until I tightened it, and then all of a sudden it was like an immediate notice. Which, to be completely honest, on a engine that only has 90 horsepower from the factory, yeah, it's kind of easy to tell if you're down a few horsepower. Done. It's literally that easy, and look at that. I didn't actually tear a glove this time, which is also super sweet. I keep rubbing my face though with my shirt because I'm all sweaty. Now we just need to go ahead, start it, make sure it runs good. Yeah, wherever the key is, of course, whenever I find the key. Okay, let's see if it catches on fire. Yes, I know I don't have a door panel. So, key on, off, on, off. I'm doing this for the glow plugs. Even though they actually technically don't turn on right now, but you know, it's whatever. Pop that guy out. And I would say, oh yeah, I'm doing this to prime the fuel pump. There's no fuel pump on this thing, it's all vacuum. So it should technically start right up. Just like that. Voila. All right, we're just looking for leaks. I don't see any leaks, except I see maybe a leak. That's a leak. I found a leak. And see, this is why we check these things. This guy right here is leaking. And I think it's probably because I broke it. Because the O-rings look good. Or maybe it's because that clamp isn't tight for shit. So let's replace that clamp with a tighter one, like this one. Because that one is tighter. Or, no, that one's all oblogged and weirded out. I technically don't need that cap though. Technically. So let's see if this works. And if it does work, then we're good. But if it doesn't work, I'll try it without the cap with the screw-on types. See, like, this is what I mean. You technically don't need it because the way this is held on is like that. Take 2. Wow! That frickin' starts, man. Yep, it ain't gonna work. It's just spewing fuel everywhere, so we gotta put those screw clamps back on, and then we should be good. All right, take my gloves off because I don't want to get my car super gross. I do use this thing for work. Paint my face again. Let's see if that works. If it's still leaking, then I know that it's just the check valve and I just need to put the old one back on, which really sucks. It starts so much better now. We're good. Hell yeah. I see no leaks there. I see no leaks here. I see no leaks there. See, I didn't need this, which I just wasted time dealing with it, but whatever. Let's go take it for a super quick spin. Feels better. My check engine light is still on, but it's going to be. I have to pull up the codes and see what it is. It's probably still for the glow plug because it will take a little while to turn off on its own. I should probably be wearing a seatbelt right now, but I'm not. I mean, I'm okay with it because I'm in my neighborhood. All right, let's go ahead and check for leaks. Make sure everything's all good. All looks pretty good to me. Well, there you have it, guys. That is the entire fuel system and glow plugs completely redone on the diesel Beetle. I could definitely tell that it starts way better, but that's probably mostly because of the glow plugs. But it might also be because we have a nice little check valve in there that we know for a fact works. There you go, guys. That's all there is to it. Go ahead and tune in next week for the next video where I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how to check your timing on your injection pump and how to adjust it and whatnot. So go ahead and stick around for that video, and the one coming after that is going to be me replacing my boost gauge right here because this one absolutely sucks. I hate it, and I'm switching over to a mechanical boost gauge. and I'm going to go ahead and install that, and we'll see how that goes. So go ahead and stop on by for all that, guys. If you guys haven't already hit that subscribe button, like I mentioned to you earlier in the video, I'm not trying to push it. If you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. Go ahead and try doing that, because I like kind of doing these videos, and I would love to make this my career one day, but I can't do that if it isn't for you guys. This is kind of a two-way street, you know, like I give out content and you watch it. Simple. So yeah, hope everybody's having a great day. Go ahead and hit that like button, leave a comment below, tell me how much of a horrible mechanic I am, and I'll see all you guys later.